unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the superfortress of intelligent Black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Sitting in with me tonight is Mona Lachey. Welcome back to the Black Channel, Mona.
Black verse.
And the telephone number is 646-787-1933. 646-787-1933 is your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. Join us. A little bit of forewarning here. It is doing what it does down here in April in Louisiana, so the weather is trying to get crunk up outside, so I will definitely be here. Don't be surprised if you hear a boom or lightning or something, and sometimes that can play havoc with your internet connection, so do be aware. I'm just giving you a heads up about that. We won't be gone until I say until next time, but just so you be aware, just in case that does happen, it may or may not cause an issue. Hopefully it won't, but regardless, we are undaunted. There's so much that I could be talking about here tonight. There is so much I could go into, but there's really only one story, one thing that has really got my attention, and the telephone lines will be open here at the bottom of the hour so you can call in and weigh in yourself. From the New York Post, Kathy Ann Boniello, dated today, April 19, 2015. Boyfriend drove hair care entrepreneur to suicide, according to her sister. The story says Titi Branch had it all. A multi-million-dollar hair care empire that she built up from a humble Brooklyn salon. A loving sister who was her business partner and confidant, and a boyfriend with whom she dreamed of starting a family. Yet, 3 weeks before Christmas, she fell into a depression so deep she would not escape it. The beautiful entrepreneur hanged herself in her Midtown apartment on December 4th, authorities say. What led her to such a dark place and who might profit from her tragic death are questions now at the center of a court battle between the two people closest to her. Her sister, Miko Branch, with whom she launched Miss Jessie's hair products, named after their grandmother, and Anthony Spadafora, the Pennsylvania man she loved. Each blames the other for the Queen's native's downward spiral. Titi, 45. Titi, 45 years old, was under Spadafora's Svengali-like spell, Miko claims, in Manhattan Supreme Court papers, saying he isolated her from the family, manipulated her, and treated her like a human ATM. Titi even changed the beneficiary of her $2 million in life insurance policies from her sister to Spadafora because of his, quote, undue influence, Miko claims. My sister's death has been a devastating blow, she told the Post. It was only after Titi's death that we learned more about what she'd been going through and how her affairs were being managed. Spadafora, quote, wielded exceptional control over her while fully aware that her mental health was severely compromised, the sister claims, referring to Titi's disabling depression. In just 2 years, Spadafora, 43, managed to extract hundreds of thousands of dollars from Titi to launch his own beard care business, Maestro's Classics, $420,000 to buy and renovate a Pennsylvania house and a $135,000 interest-free loan. Quote, in exchange, she received nothing, Miko charged. Titi was ready to kick Spadafora to the curb last year when she found out he sexually propositioned her trainer. But he knew how to keep her in line, Miko alleges in court papers. So she's saying that her sister was going to dump this guy last year. Then she found out that he was already hitting on her trainer. Now, you all haven't seen pictures of her, but she wasn't grossly overweight, but she could lose a few pounds. She was trying to get herself in shape, I guess, for him. Nice Italian-looking gentleman. And she wanted to get herself in shape for him, but apparently he was done with that and said, hey, your trainer looks to be a little bit more motivated. But apparently that wasn't enough. So she claims, oh, she was going to leave him, but found out that he was hitting on her trainer, but he knew how to keep her in line, Miko alleges in court papers. This guy has to be, a hypnotist, really. Spadafora took extreme measures to stop her, sending compromising photographs that he had taken of her, the sister claims. Within days of her death, he peppered her grieving parents with emails claiming he had a new will drafted by Titi, giving him 50% of everything, according to the suit. He also took his girlfriend's he also took Titi's computer and refused to give it to her family members unless they forked over Titi's expensive Cartier bracelet, according to court papers. When they did, the computer he returned had its hard drive scrubbed clean, the Branch family claims. Spadafora called the charges ridiculous. He claims Titi's bitter falling out with Miko in September of 2013 prompted her to change the beneficiary of her life insurance policy and drove Titi out of the company she and Miko started together in 2004. She was changing everything, he said. The sisters loved each other, but had different management styles, and as tensions grew, Titi couldn't take the stress, he claims, calling Miko, quote, the bully of Brooklyn. They're trying to paint me as a villain, he said. He met Titi on Match.com in 2012, and the relationship quickly became serious. Is this damn thing on? Now, I know some of you at the beginning of the article when it said that she's in Brooklyn and he's in Philadelphia, that should have raised a couple of red flags right there, but okay. All right. He met Titi on Match.com in 2012, and the relationship quickly became serious. It was real love. I was dedicated to her. She was dedicated to me, he said, calling Titi his Lady Liberty. The pair traveled to Italy and France, shared homes in New York and Pennsylvania, and wanted to have children, but multiple rounds of in vitro fertilization failed, leaving Titi drained and despondent, her boyfriend told the Post. In December, Titi got a call at his Pennsylvania home from a friend concerned about Titi's absence. That doesn't sound right. In December, he got a call at his Pennsylvania home from a friend concerned about Titi's absence. Spadafora rushed to her Manhattan apartment. Police were already there. My love failed, he said, weeping. I thought it was good enough if there wasn't a baby, he said. Spadafora says he wants to make peace with the family. I don't want to see this turn into a war, he said. They say the police got questions, the family got questions. Yeah, I got a few questions too. I want to know, where is that psycho heifer, Crystalline Karazine, and the rest of her ass-kicking brood? I want to know where they are tonight to tell us about this and tell us what went wrong. Because according to them, the key to happiness is becoming a swirler. According to them, it's a one-step process, not 5 steps. It is a one-step cure. You do that, all you have to do is agree to stop dating black men, and everything else is bliss. It is perfect, it is sublime, it is ideal. I want to know where that psychopathic heifer is tonight, so she can get in touch with Titi and Miko's family and let them know that this is all just a figment of our imaginations or something. I want to know where she is for that. I want to know where are all the people out there who have such terrible things to say about black men every day and every week. They've made careers out of it. Where are they? Where's Azalea Banks, who said that she doesn't want a war? She doesn't want to date black men because she dates white men because she doesn't want a war in her home. Where's Azalea Banks tonight to tell us what went wrong? Where are they? You see, talking stupid is cute. It really is, so long as nobody ever holds you to it. Talking stupid is cute. If you've seen the documentary 7 a.m., for those of you who've seen it and those of you who will soon see it, got a few screenings coming up here. As a matter of fact, in Cleveland on the 24th. I believe it is. We got another screening coming up in Cleveland and a few other places. In 7 a.m., I go over the story of hair care magnate Madam C.J. Walker. I walk you through her life and her legacy. Black people spend more on hair care than any other people on the planet, and yet we make the least amount of money of any people on the planet. It's stupid. It's absolutely asinine and stupid. And black women make up the majority of those sales. It is just plain stupid. It's not crazy, it's stupid. And at the end of the chapter about Madam C.J. Walker, you'll all remember that Alayla Bundles had mentioned that Madam C.J. Walker's legacy had been passed on to companies like Carol's Daughter and Miss Jessie's. Remember that, everybody? That the legacy had been passed, Madam C.J. Walker's legacy had been passed on to companies like Carol's Daughter and Miss Jessie's. Well, in 7 a.m., you all saw what happened to Carol's Daughter. They got bought out by the L'Oreal Corporation. And now you've seen what happened to Miss Jessie's. This isn't fiction, this is real life. This is the real world. This is reality. This is what actually happened. I want to know how in the world this guy Spatafora got so lucky. This is a black woman living in a majority of a predominantly black neighborhood, or at least she predominantly knows black people, and yet of everybody that she could have met online or anything else, she ends up with this white fella. I'm telling you that's not accidental. And I'm telling you that he didn't reach out to her. I'm telling you, he did not reach out to her. She reached out to him. What does he know about black hair care? He wouldn't know this woman. How would he know who that is? I'm telling you, he didn't. I'm telling you, he didn't. I'm telling you that she went looking for trouble and she found it. I'm telling you that there are a bunch of individuals out there playing these sick, demented, twisted little psychotic head games. Bedwenching is a psychotic head game, people. Let me be very clear about that. Bedwenching is a psychotic, psychopathic head game. It is the refuge and the indulgence of the mentally and emotionally damaged, broken, and deranged. They play these little sick games where they are attacking and at war with black society. And then it goes horribly, hideously bad. Now, they'll never admit that it went bad. They'll just be back the next day saying, well, I just didn't do it right, or they just didn't do it right, or whatever. This is what we're up against. This is what we run into. This is the reality. This is the reality. And I suggest to you all tonight that she went looking for trouble and found it. And she met somebody like herself. She met another personality just like her. Mentally and emotionally abusive, bankrupt, manipulative, sadistic. And you see, he played the game. Oh, he played the game. She was going to show black men something and wound up learning something herself. She was going to show black men that she could turn up her ass at us. Oh, well. And what happened here? Who you going to blame for this? Who you going to blame this on? You see, he walked in the door. He walked in the door knowing exactly what to get after. He didn't waste no time. See, a white man's not going to waste no amount of time. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He wasted no time. He immediately got in and began the process of separating her, not from a couple of $100, but from hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, he got, what, almost $1 million, well over $500,000 out of her. Well over. Well over. And he only met her in 2012. Let me say that again. He only met her 2 years before she died. And within 24 months, within 2 years, he had separated her from over $500,000 and had gotten her to remove her sister and put him on as her beneficiary. Ain't married nothing. Let me say that one more time for you dumbasses out there and the brain dead bedwenches who are squealing right now and shrieking at the heavens. He did all of that and didn't have to even marry her. Oh, I'm making you feel bad. I'm hurting your feelings. You got that right. I'm making you feel real bad, and I'm hurting your feelings real bad, and that is the idea. He got all that money out of her. He was able to do all of that, and at no time was he ever required to actually marry this woman. At no time did he even need to do it. At no time. Never had to do anything except show up. That's all he had to do. All he had to do was just show up. He showed up, he laid down the game, and separated her not from thousands. Hello, all you busted, broke-ass hood rats out there. He separated her not from thousands, but from millions. And broke this woman. And by the way, can we just be honest about it? Let's just say the game like it happened. He got with her and said, hey, you know, you got this money and stuff, but he made sure that he extracted enough money from her so that he could get up and leave. He was making sure he could get up and leave. And if he was hitting on her personal trainer, clearly he was already making his way toward the door. Oh, I'm hurting your feelings. Oh, the beyond black and white people are suicidal over there right now. Oh, they're calling up their guidance counselors and 911 and 411 and 211 and every other 1111. No, you don't want to hear it stated like this. You don't want to hear it stated that we all see how big of an ass you're making of yourselves. Now that you don't want to hear. But it's just the truth. It's just the truth. It's just the reality. You don't have to like it. And nobody cares if you don't. Because these are facts. These are just facts right now. And if you think that this is a one-time occasion, you think this is just a fluke occurrence, what about Gabriel Audrey, whatever his name was? What about him and Halle Berry? Another woman who prided herself on her ability to spit in the faces of black men. Another woman who her psychoses led her to go on this sick, demented jihad against black men on international television. And before it was over, she could call the police, she could call her boyfriend and beat the fella up. She could do anything she wanted to, but he walked away with her money. We have a bunch of people in black society who are operating and functioning with severe emotional problems. And a lot of you are emulating those emotional deficiencies. A lot of you are, not some. With all the black men that she could have met, and she chose to go down this road, and look where it led. Mona, maybe you can be the voice of reason here, because sometimes you have to correct me on some of these things. What am I missing here? Maybe I'm just too jaded. What am I missing?
You're not missing anything. You're being very thorough right now.
I feel like Woody Harrelson in that movie No Country for Old Men. I feel like him when he says to Josh Brolin's character Llewellyn Moss, Not quite the future you had in mind when you first clapped eyes on that money, is it? And I feel like that with her, and I'm not spitting on her, everybody. I'm not kicking her while she's dead. I'm not disrespecting her. I'm saying take the lessons of her life. Take the lessons of her life. Take the lessons of her life and understand that. Take the lessons of this, because we have too many people who are we keep trading too much stupidity in black society, and we entertain it as if it stands for actual reasonable discussion, and it does not. We have too much of this that happens. And bedwenching is now officially, literally, costing these women their lives. Because they're playing psychotic head games, and the people that they're running into, Mona, they can see the head games too. They can see it too. Do you think they understand that?
I have to question if they do, Jason. I was driving home, and I read the article before I left work, and I was driving home thinking that she was a woman with $1 million celebrity status, and still she ended up looking for love on Match.com. And this is when, swirling goes wrong in a major way. And yeah, you were so busy running away from black men that, you ended up with this monster. And just like you said earlier, in less than 2 years, not only did she part with her panties, she parted with her money. And the majority of time, black women will, say that black men have a gift for gab and they can talk you out of anything. I'm trying to figure out, what did this white boy had that talked her out of everything, her legacy and her life. And I just need to add on one more thing, Jason. This is a perfect example of why women are not natural leaders. This is a perfect example of that. Even with her being a so-called sugar mama, she didn't even know how to do that. And I think about a conversation that you and I had when we were talking about, when people get money, they change. Well, in actuality, they don't change. They just become, the larger person that they are. And whatever insecurities Miss Branch had, she tried to cover that up with her money. She never, came full circle and took care of those insecurities. And she used her money to cover that up. And as far as him, propositioning her trainer, and then she trying to get out of the relationship, and he was holding some, pictures over her head. At that point in time, with my money, he would have had to hold those pictures over my head. The relationship would have been more than over then. Oh, well, she had no business taking the pictures in the first place, but that's the last thing that you're going to threaten me with the pictures. Show the pictures then, because you're out of here. And I'm pissed too about her parents. He had her computer, and her parents he said, give me the Cartier bracelet and I'll give you the computer. And they went for that. It's just a bunch of stupidity all across the board. I'm not giving you nothing. Why didn't they take him to court for a computer? So they gave up some more of her assets. And it makes me think of what would have happened if this would have been a black man. Pookie and Ray Ray would have been over there trying to kick his door in for a little reward, or maybe for nothing. So they were afraid of this man too, just because of the color of his skin. And he got a business and his house renovated and a loan and put on a life insurance policy in less than 2 years. She has got to be something had to be wrong with this young lady. And like you said, that he didn't even marry her. And somewhere in that article, he says that, this was this great special love affair and they couldn't keep their hands off of each other and they loved each other. Then why he didn't put a ring on it? And why didn't she demand a ring? Looked like the money overweighed the loving or any type of relationship that they were having. In less than 2 years, he almost got $3 billion. Wow. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
I mean, with a situation like this, it's one of those things where it's really insulting. It's really, really insulting because this is a situation where you go looking for trouble. We're going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here right now. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933 is your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. Definitely do give us a call. Stephanie in the chat room had raised the point that, did you notice her hair, by the way? Did you all notice that she had her hair colored blonde? Did you all notice that?
Yes.
I guess she kind of thought she looked like a junior Beyonce or something like that, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. But what I do know is that clearly, based on the outcome, there were clearly some problems going on here. And rather than actually deal with those problems, which is what you're supposed to do in these situations, people instead decided to play around with them. And we do far too much of that. We do far too much playing around and masticating our problems, as opposed to actually just dealing with them. That isn't what happens, though. We don't actually deal with them. We kind of just do this sick little dance where we play around with them, but we don't actually deal with it. And now in her case, it has likely cost her her life.
Jason, can I say one more thing before you take the call?
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to go back to when you were talking about Match.com and, possibly her profile and, their interaction, before they became this couple. And I'm going to have to agree with you that she baited him in. And this would be a perfect example of a black woman talking too much. She absolutely, and it's no doubt in my mind, had to spill the beans on who she was, what she did for a living, and how much she was worth.
Immediately. She would have had to, because he only met her in 2012. She was dead in 2014. And yes. He met her in 2012. She broke up with her sister in the company in 2013, and she was dead in 2014, which means she didn't give it any amount of time to let this man to find out what he was about or nothing. She immediately, just out the gate, hey, I'm gonna really, really impress him because he's white. I gotta impress him. So she just told him everything from the jump. He didn't have to ask nothing. The lottery just fell into his lap. That white privilege is a damn thing, Mona. That white privilege is a son of a gun. When you got white privilege in black society, people. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. Never mind. You got white privilege in black society. You can be in black society and still have your white privilege. That's a cold ass game.
You're telling the truth, Jason, because I was trying to find some information on him. And then, I have to recall in the article that it said that he, shortly after meeting her, he wanted to, start this company. What had he built before her? And did she even bother to question that? Was that even on her agenda? Did she just want this white boy under her arms? Look at what I got.
I mean, think about that, Mona. Think about that. She is a black woman of means. And she's grabbed somebody in an inferior socioeconomic position.
Yes.
And not only did she grab him, she gave up everything.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is that being in Brooklyn, do you know how many black men in an inferior economic position that she had to pass up in order to finally end up at this guy in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just going to keep it all the way real with everybody here. I mean, there's just no way you could get here any other way. There just isn't. There just isn't. And it's going to upset a lot of people, but damn you, it's just the truth. She can't say black men wanted her money. She can't say it's because she couldn't find a black man on her level. You can't say that and then end up with Spatafora from Philadelphia. There's no way that that's an honest answer. It's just not. And this is a psychotic game that we play, Mona, because my real point of bringing this up is that we as black people have to get off this mess. That we are going to find our happiness and our identity outside of ourselves. Because that's where this really came from. That's where this really came from. She was looking for her identity. She was looking for herself, and it was sitting right there the whole time. But she was convinced that that wasn't good enough. I got to go elsewhere. And when she finally found what she, in her own mind, had preconceived was it, look how it turned out. Look how it turned out.
Yeah, she got love from her people. She had a salon since 1997. That was 21 years. And then in 2004, she launched Miss Jessie's. That's over 10 years. So she got love from her community. She got her backing from her community. And like you said, that still wasn't enough. That did not validate who she was. She went outside looking for validation and ended up hanging herself at the prime of her life, being a successful black woman.
"45 years old. She meets up with a guy a couple of years younger than her. And look how that turns out. I just really wonder, is this really the best we could do?
And how do you justify running away from, what you might call, or the majority of women may call, the black loser in a man, into the arms of a white loser? Because any man that will continuously take your money, he does not have any pride. He's got to be a loser. So how do you justify doing that? Oh, I'm gonna stop messing with black men and I'm gonna get over here with these white boys because these white boys treat me better. How did he treat her better? How did he enrich her life?
I wanna I want to try to wrap my head around it. I want to. I want to be able to understand it, because that's the only way that we can help other people to avoid these pitfalls, you know? I want to be able to understand that. I don't want us repeating these cycles over and over again. I don't want us doing that.
How many black men, since this was her role of, using her money to help men, how many black men did she pass up that she met, and they possibly, she asked them where did they see themselves in 5 years, and they said they wanted to open up something, and she passed them up, or she laughed at them, or she shunned them, or she told them good luck with that. I'm not gonna help you.
Or she told them, I can't fool with him, he just wants my money.
Absolutely.
Now, how many times did that happen? Where she just said, oh, I can't fool with him. He's not on my level. He just wants my money.
Yes.
And she didn't, it's not like she bought a car. I mean, she bought this man a home. And that was one of the cheaper things that she paid for. He made sure that he got out of her what he needed to get on his feet. And just leave her.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking everybody tonight, how in the hell did that happen? How in the hell does that happen? Do you realize that they changed the ending of 7 a.m.? Damn near single-handedly. They have changed the ending of 7 a.m. If I had waited, until December to finish editing on 7 a.m., I would have seen her dead. And when Alayla Bundles talked about Carol's daughter and Miss Jessie's, I would have had to have 2 addendums, because I actually added the one about Carol's daughter. We were already done with most of the editing, and I actually went back and added that slide on there to 7 a.m. so it would be in there. But and I really finished up all the editing. I really finished that up in October. About in October. And if I had waited until December, I could have included that Jesse's daughter is on the ropes too, and one of the girls is dead.
Yeah.
I could have included that. I could have included that. So white investors came to Carol's daughter and got her to sell out. I mean, I'm going to say this in the most politically incorrect fashion possible. White men took out Carol's daughter and Miss Jessie's. If you believe Miko's version of the events, if you believe the surviving sister's version of the events, even if you believe that, does she even realize what she's saying? White men took out Carol's daughter and Miss Jessie's within 6 months. Actually, less time than that. Do you all realize that I do not believe it was 6 whole months from the time that L'Oreal bought Carol's daughter to the time that Titi Branch was dead. I don't believe that it was 6 whole months between those 2 events. I don't think it was 6 whole months. Go back and check that if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't believe it was 6 whole months from the time that Lisa Price sold out to the time that Titi Branch killed herself. I do not believe it was 6 calendar months. I do not believe it was. It takes decades to build an empire, people. It takes decades. You can't do that in just a couple years. It takes decades, for black folk anyway. And do you realize that 2 hair care empires in the making, they broke them not even It didn't even, it only took him a few months to do that. Not a few years, even. Just a matter of months. I'm going to go back and look that up because I remember I was editing on it in October and I added that in October. So I'm wondering, it could have been as little as, 2 or 3 months. It could have been just as little as two, maybe even 3 months. It could have been just that short amount of time. So within 60 days, conceivably, I gotta go back and check the dates on that, but conceivably within 60 to 90 days, they stepped in and broke both of them. Definitely within 90 days. Within 90 days, they were both shells of their former selves.
And Jason, I don't know how true this is. I did tap into another article that said that um, she was also trying to have children for this man. So, what what is the mindset of a millionaire black woman that makes her so desperate to do everything backwards? She did everything backwards. He showed he was. Why was she trying to have his babies? She wasn't even married to him. The relationship wasn't even solid. So yet and still, with all the money and all the success, she still, something was mentally wrong with her. She had low self-esteem. She had low value for herself after all her accomplishments. What is that?
I am trying my hardest not to be completely and totally disgusted. Now, he says that they were trying to have a baby.
Okay.
Now, he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars of her money. They're trying to get her pregnant, or so he says. At what point is this man going to make a commitment to your ass?
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't with him for months. This is years this was going on. Years. And clearly, if her sisters know about him trying to hit on a trainer, I can only assume they would say that. It'd be stupid for them to say that if the trainer isn't going to corroborate it. So if the trainer does corroborate that, yeah, he was trying to holler at me, then what does that tell you right there? She let this man sit up here and was going to let him do all this, if you believe that he was really trying to get her pregnant. Trying to make her do all this, and then what? You are going to get pregnant and have a baby by a guy in an inferior financial position. Now you got to pay alimony and child support to this man. Seriously. You are going to wind up having to pay him alimony and child support. This is the way it is in black society today. I got to question people, and I'm not being mean when I ask this. Brothers and sisters, anybody out there, can you please show me the black male who is getting alimony and child support? Like Gabriel Aubrey and this guy. Show me where you can rattle off 2 stories like that.
Jason, I'm not trying to be funny here, but now it makes me think about last night's broadcast when we were discussing Janae Rice, and she said, once Ray cried, she knew he had her. She knew she had him. I'm sitting here wondering, what was his aha moment? when he knew he had her. That he knew he can get anything he wanted and didn't have to do too much. When was his aha moment? What did he do? What did he see that made her become this victim? That he said, cha-ching, I hit the lottery. What is he out there telling his homeboys? Man, I knew I had her when. After I did this, I knew she was the cash cow. This is embarrassing.
Now, there are a couple of little artifacts I want to throw in here. Now, you'll all remember that last night when I was reading to you from New York Magazine, they referred to Ray Rice as ghastly, disturbing, all the rest of that. Did you all hear them use any of those types of adjectives about this man?
No.
Now, this is a white man who's come in here and ostensibly broke up the family and the business and everything else. She's dead. She's dead now. Not knocked out. Not punch drunk. She's dead. Dead and gone. And they are not saying, the worst they said about him was that her sister claims that he had her under a Svengali-like spell.
Yeah.
That's the worst that New York Post could say. Now, Ray Rice is ghastly and disturbing. This guy, the woman, is dead, and he is neither ghastly nor disturbing. They talk about he was weeping, that she was all, I wanted things to work out. My love wasn't enough, as he was weeping. Ray Rice didn't get any such consideration anywhere, anytime, from anyone, for any reason. People, if you don't believe that this is war, I don't know what else to tell you. If you listen to last night's TBA After Hours, Dream Killers, and if you listen to this broadcast tonight and don't understand that this is war, get the hell out of here and just stop listening. You're wasting my time, my money, and yours. There's really no point. Gonna see if we can take a phone call here because I want to make a couple of other points here. Let me get caller from 718. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 718. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Good evening. Salutations. B1, Bazami Bond reporting in. Big Zoe, what's going on?
What's on your mind, Brother Zoe?
Yesterday was deep. I heard the rebroadcast of Dream Killers, as well as also listened to Sellouts. Both were salient, stellar points. The latter part was very, very somber. When it was laid out the way it was, and the sisters chimed in with their points, it was irrefutable. It's a rough road to hoe from this point forward.
Now, you live in New York, Zoe.
Yes, sir.
Now, she was in Brooklyn. Will you explain to me, maybe you can explain it to me, what in the hell went wrong? She's got a multi-million-dollar business, and she goes all the way down to Philadelphia to find her poison. She couldn't find that where she was?
Now, you have me at a loss, because I just got on a few minutes. Whom or what are you referring to in specifically?
Okay, well, if you just joined us here, you'll have to listen to it later. But it's one of those things where if for people who are not understanding, we have this tremendous dysfunction here. And in the case of Titi Branch, who we're talking about, that she was one of the sisters who owned Carol's daughter. Now she's dead because she met a very nice white gentleman in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And
yes.
In a situation like this, it really kind of makes you wonder, what in the hell are the dynamics going on? What are we teaching people? What are we conditioning them to believe, to think? With all the bad press that black men get, And nobody's going to talk about this, by the way. Nobody's going to hurt themselves to talk about this. At some point, something's got to give.
Well, I can give you this perspective regarding that woman because I couldn't understand why, on the surface, she's a cute woman. She's a big sister, but she's a cute woman with a lot of intelligence and with a lot of talent. Why that, as they were describing it, this Swengali was able to seduce her to the point of milking her for pretty much all of her fortune, as well as corralling her and separating her from her family, to the point that she didn't see anything in life. And basically, he basically ran a lot of game on her, and unfortunately, she didn't have any positive reinforcements. I guess it was the fact that she probably didn't have any positive role models. The brothers probably weren't checking for her, because the sad part is it was easy for him to manipulate her. He was younger than her, and if you look at him on the surface, he's nothing to sneeze at.
Well, I mean, you say the brothers probably weren't checking for her. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe that at all. I think she's 45 years old. So you don't go from 15 to 45. 30 years. And you mean to tell me that she ain't stumbled across somebody with some sense where she is in a city of millions? Brother, she had her radar on for something in particular. She was looking for something specific because she was trying to prove something to herself. There's just, the math doesn't work out on it. If you are 45 years old and men ain't checking for you, and by the way, the guy that she found wasn't checking for her either if he's chasing the trainer.
Yep.
So clearly, it wasn't that black men weren't checking for her. She's 45 years old, and it is men, period. She has a dysfunction that is making men say, hey, I can do better than you. I don't know what it'll be, but I know I can do better than you. Even with your money. Even with your money, I can do better than you.
I learned a hard lesson in my short time as an adult, that the thing is not everything that glitters is gold. When you see something that seems to be perfect, immaculate, priceless, you either see it at a discount, or you see it untouched, or you see it for free and being given away. There's a reason why it's still there. And there was something going on with this chick. And just like you said, it's surprising. There are a lot of so-called perfect or ideal or top-notch, or as they say, five-star chicks that are left on the shelf. And unless you personally take the plunge, you just look and like, I don't understand. And was a prime example. And unfortunately, it cost her everything, including her life. And her family is at a loss, and everybody's at a loss in terms of dealing with it and trying to explain what happened, what went wrong.
I wonder if they even want to know. I wonder if they even want to know. Because I submit to you that I don't think they even want to know.
Can I say something?
Yes, Mona.
Because Zoe just made me think of something. You know, to be a successful entrepreneur or a business owner, you have to think with reason. Okay, and that's what she was. And if he said she was a big girl, at some point in time in her life, when she was out on the social scene, knowing that I'm a big girl and I have $1 million, I am absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, going to have to question any male that is not on my level, in my caliber. Why does he want to talk to me? And that's where she didn't use her business savvy. She didn't apply that to her personal life. And she ran on emotions, and she ran on feelings. And she's dead now.
You know, Mona, that's a very, very, very astute point. And that's probably one of the things that factored into the fact that, as Jason put it out, in a city of millions, why nobody was checking for her, and why this guy, out of all the people, was able to do what he did. Because as I was reading the article regarding her situation from her successful company and stuff like that, he basically isolated her completely.
Did
And
he?
it was perfect, just like the aspects that Jason spoke about last night. And it worked perfectly to the point where there was no other voice in her head or in her life than his, according to her family and friends.
Okay, that's according to her family and friends, but here's the problems though. She went chasing that and stayed there for years. I do not believe in Svengali spells. I don't believe in that. I believe we get what we're looking for. And I believe that she was with, like so many black males. A black female says something off the wall to him. Well, these hoes are just too argumentative. A white female calls him nigger to his face, and he wants to reconcile. He went looking for that.
And I have to say that might be a lie too. How do we know that he isolated her? How do we know that's not what she's been looking for? And here's the thing that I want to bring out right now, and I'm going to speak to the sisters that co-signed this relationship for her. Yeah, girl, get it. Forget what black people say. Black men ain't shit. You know, he trying to do something with you. They ought to feel real sorry right now, real stupid. Because she did have some friends co-sign this relationship, was giving her high fives and wish they was in her position. He didn't isolate her. I'm sorry.
The man had really nothing. No, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at it like this from a practical standpoint, a logical standpoint. The man had nothing really superbly going from on the surface. He was able to secure monies from him to start his own business. To get an interest-free loan and so on and so forth, and he did it without no challenge, to the point where when she passed, he was able to push off the family request for records and her laptop until when he finally gave it back. There was nothing salvageable on it at all. Now this doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, I only saw a couple of pictures when I saw the article online by accident, and she looks like a decent, fine black woman. You know, she wasn't super obese. She wasn't ugly. She looked like someone that could get some attention.
Yeah, but you know
what I mean?
what? Here's the problem, because she looks like she's like a size 12, 14, something like that. So she wasn't huge.
Yeah.
So that's not really the issue. The real issue is, what kind of character did she have? Forget the looks, forget the bull job. Let's get down to some brass tacks. What kind of character was she? What kind of character did she have? What type of attitude issues did she have?
Well, my brother, if she's a typical urban New Yorker black girl, especially from Brooklyn, she's kind of flighty. She's kind of in a way sort of bipolar. Like one moment she might be normal, the next moment she might be crazy.
And you know what? I think it goes back to when Jason says, you know, what is your purpose? What is your plan? What was her plan when she got in this relationship? Because the majority of black women, and I'm sorry, y'all might get pissed off, they seek attention. They're attention whores. She got exactly what she was looking for. She was looking for that attention. And she did not have a well sought out plan. What was her agenda after she got the attention? And the attention didn't mean that he was going to do right by her. And once she saw that the attention wasn't enough, she got desperate and just started, you know, shelling out all this money. Then the money wasn't enough, because if it's true that he propositioned her, trained or something close to her.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she was fighting this losing battle. And I'm going to say this right now. We as black women need to stop trying to stay into relationships that are not working just for the sake of saying, girl, I got a man, you don't. At least I got one. This is tragic.
Nothing about this story makes sense. It's just one of those things that makes you shake your head and makes you wonder what's really, really going on, or what, how could this have happened?
I mean, I think we all know how it happened. I think we all know how it happened. I said it years ago. Nobody else has said it. I was the only one who said it. I'll say it again. The rest of the world can see our dysfunctions and they play us like puppets and marionettes. They know it. They know our dysfunctions. They know that there is a whitewashed, color sensitive, color lusting gene in black society. They know this. They know that we're a color struck people. They know that. The white men see the crystalline Charizines. And crystalline, you no good slut idiot. I'm going to say it here tonight that it is individuals like crystalline that have created the atmosphere that causes things like this. Because when you get out there and keep egging people on to do irrational things, and crystalline is about as whacked out as she can be too, by the way. When you egg people on to do psychotic things like this, when you go off and tell people to do things that are not in their best interest because you have some type of emotional schism and dysfunction, and it leads to this, that makes you criminal. And all these people, when you sit up here and put up a whole damn website and want to put up web series, and here comes Issa Rae and the rest of her ilk, don't you know that white men are seeing that and they know what the hell's going on? Just like when black males in college sit up here and y'all sit up here and grab the coon plane. You got your tickets first class on the coon plane, letting these white girls in college know that you Negroes will get in a freaking fist fights over them. So they know, they don't think they know, hey, if it don't work out with the white guys, at least I can grab one of the bucks over here. At least I can do that. At least I can do that. It's no secret that that's what black males are doing in college. It's no secret. And now we're seeing among the black females, it's no secret. It's no secret. I'll let you have the last words, though.
Last word is serious. To my brothers out there, focus on getting your power, wealth, and influence up. Life will get easier once you start getting yourself established. To my sisters, focus on building your character and protect your body, protect your mind, protect your future, because the wrong move will scar you for decades, if not life. And to my brother Jason, keep up the good work. Black first.
Black first, brother, as always. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. Let's see if I can grab another caller here. Caller from 646. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello, Jason Black. Hello, Mona. Good evening. This is Jay from Brooklyn.
Jay from Brooklyn, what's on your mind? Well, hell, you're right there from her neck of the woods. You're one of those Negroes that she didn't want to fool with.
I probably wouldn't want to fool with her. I've, to be honest with you, since 2000, like around 2000, after I came back from the service overseas, you could see the shift with a lot of our own people, what they want to accept it. I was in my own little world, coming back from tour and everything else, and I just remember this one story and hearing this. This lady's very successful. I remember walking into a copy place to get my degree copied for, this program I was in, and this black woman, and you have a lot of sisters out here, will insult you before even knowing you. She's like, oh, you have a degree? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, a black man with a degree, that's a rare thing. I was like, it's funny because many of my friends who I grew up with have degrees. Then she all of a sudden told me about how I must like white girls. I'm like, no, I'm not a big fan. I think a lot of them are very overrated. So when you said about her character, I think she was probably checking for black men, but they probably got tired of her because she probably held what she did in their face all the time. Any man that has any integrity is not going to want to be emasculated or guiltinized for too long at all. I mean, I've seen it all the time. Sisters will date guys that look like Morris Chestnut and Denzel Washington, but when it comes to white boys, they look like George Costanza from Seinfeld. And they're supposed to be the cream of the crop. Which is funny as hell. And then there's the whole thing about black men not doing this, and that, but all of a sudden when they're with a white guy, they're very cooperative, to say the least. Very cooperative.
So
I have somebody in my family who. Go ahead, Mona.
I'm sorry, because I have two men on the line, and I'm listening to what you're saying. So I want to ask you men a question. So, what is that when a black woman will use her wealth to shame, put down, or degrade her own brother or her own black man, but does not have the ability to do it to a white man or somebody outside of her race? What is that?
Not just doesn't have the ability, doesn't have the will. She doesn't go up to him and approach him in that way.
Thank you.
She doesn't even approach him in that way. I think it's because she understands that money doesn't impress white men. You see, with black men, you have the idea in your head that, oh, and I've talked about this before. Ladies, your degree doesn't impress men. And first of all, black men and black women don't go to school for the same things either, by the way. But even if you do have a degree, your degree doesn't impress us. And your job title doesn't impress us unless you are looking for a specific type of subservient person. And take a look at what she found. She didn't try to go get a white man who was on her level. She grabbed a guy who was well below it. She didn't go try to get a white man who was like her, a business owner, millions of dollars. She didn't try to do that. And that is because she got the money because she felt she needed that as an equalizer in order to impress where she knew she was going. I need this money because me by myself, I'm just another nigger girl. But with the money, at least I can get a conversation. At least I can get that.
I remember when I worked for the Department of Homeland, and this white guy who was going out with a black girl posted sexually explicit pictures on her on Facebook. And all these black people who worked at the job was like, oh, that's not him. He wouldn't do that. I'm like, let me get this straight. They were the only two in this room. He claims he lied and said how his girlfriend found the pictures and posted up on Facebook. I was like, how did your girlfriend even get access to the phone? I don't know. She got access to the phone. And you had all these stupid Negroes that believed him. I was like, that dude's a scumbag, man. Why are you guys hanging out with this dude? Anything for acceptance. Anything for acceptance. They'll swallow their pride. They'll cut each other's throats. And then the irony of the whole thing was, not only he wasn't a good person, he wasn't even a good worker. He used to tell on people left and right. So he won't get in trouble.
And that's what she was attracted to.
Yeah. Our people are lost. And I mean, if you think it's bad with the women, you should hear some of the men in their comments about dating a white girl. You would think they David Duke themselves about not dealing with black women.
So can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Mona.
So with her, I want to go back to her character. With her business success and with her millions, did she actually believe that she was on the level to pull a millionaire of her type? Or did she go for what she knew she could um get and still be on top? Like, what I'm trying to say is hold that status over the head of that man, in opposed to getting with somebody on her level and possibly having to humble herself because of who they were as a man. Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense, but it ultimately costed her life and her fortune. I mean, I've worked in a real estate office. You know, I just recently started, and the guy who I work for, a great guy and everything, his significant other was in the office with him, working side by side with him. These are two black people, very family structured, very family oriented. I mean, you have sisters out here that, you know, I agree with TBA, that learn from the civil rights generation, you know, with the welfare system and the white feminist movement, which is more dangerous than anything, about how to destroy your own community. And I tell sisters all the time, you better stop listening to that white girl, because that white girl is destroying your community. This is the same one that'll call you strong, independent. She has a husband at home. You're a fool for listening to her. But once again, they'll tell brothers, oh, you're hating, you know what you're talking about, shut up. And then they end up alone in their 40s and everything else, trying to come back to us like, hey, you know, what's going on? And we're like, nah, that's all right. I'm good.
And do you know what the ultimate irony here would be? Do you all know what the ultimate irony of this entire catastrophe, this car wreck of events would be? The ultimate irony would be, after all this, after he's gotten all of her money and wreaked all this havoc in this black family, if he takes that money, makes a mint out of it, and the next woman that you see him with is
Right. Absolutely.
would that not be the ultimate insult and the ultimate irony of all of this?
I mean, Kevin Federline did it.
Yeah.
Kevin Federline did the exact same thing. He was dating Star Jackson from Moesha, whatever that show was. He got with Britney Spears,
And never look
got
back.
her knocked up, and never looked back.
I
So
wonder
the
how many
question,
people even thought about that.
yeah, I thought about that. The question I'm trying to ask is, although she had assets, did she have worth that got her in the position that she, saw herself in? She did not. She had to not know her worth to go down this spiral and take her own life.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many women out here, and this is from a man point of view speaking. I grew up with a lot of females around me. I have female friends. The dysfunction of their own mind and their self-esteem, the way they view themselves, is pretty pathetic. They will look at people who they never come in contact, don't know, and they'll idolize these people. The whole Beyonce beehive is hilarious. It's hilarious about how they worship her. Somebody like Rihanna, never met, never touched, never even had a full-blown conversation. They're not related to people, but these are their idols, which is strange.
I have
It's
to
very
agree with
strange.
that. I have to agree with that because when you think about Love and Hip Hop and Housewives of Atlanta and the Basketball Wives, and they're showing all these people with status and with money and how dysfunctional that they're the media and these TV series are portraying these dysfunctional relationships. That's how women are emulating, love and compatibility,
Well,
from that example.
and the after hours, which I listened to last night, And, you know, when I heard four females' perspective on Janae Rice, I remember when the females of ESPN, your Kerry Washington, your Janelle Hill, when they was ripping him apart about what he did was wrong, you should never hit a woman. But it's funny when there's a white male stuff happened to, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger, you know, Tom Brady having a child out of wedlock, they said absolutely nothing. Quiet as a church mouse. Or my favorite one, how, you know, they go after Floyd Mayweather. Dick Gregory said this a long time. It's easy to pick on weak people. It's very easy, you know, because they can't defend themselves. And this is what you're seeing in society now, where I'm glad you have TBA, Tariq, Zoe Williams, Dr. Boyce Watkins, where this is really starting to be a pushback, where people are starting to get called out for their blatant, it's not even coonery anymore, it's buffoonery. Straight buffoonery of how they talk against their own interests. Their own interests. And some of these females are, my God, they're vicious. I mean, some of these females will try to destroy their own kids because they have a problem with the father. That's not even a female anymore. That's a savage. You know, I mean, it's sad that this woman took her life over somebody who didn't love her. But let's be realistic. You had to be in a lot of pain to take your life. To put your life in your own hands and take it, you had to be in a lot of pain. Early this month, I knew a guy who literally set himself on fire. A young guy, I think in his early 31, 32, he set himself literally on fire because he was having marital problems at home.
Well, I want to say this. Nobody wants to lose that love. And just to think that I'm this successful Black woman with this multi-million-dollar business, and I can't find success in love. I can't find success in a relationship. But on top of that, I got duped by a white boy. That might make you take your life. That's a slap in the face. How am I going to get amongst my peers and the people that respect me and look up to me and explain to them, how did that happen?
Well, you know, to add on to that, Mona, Lonnie in the chat room, Lonnie asked a very good question. He asked, was the personal trainer white?
Yeah, I was trying to find that out too, Jason.
Lonnie asked a very good question, because if that happened and then she kills herself, kind of seems like a big, huge piece would have just fallen right into place, doesn't it? That she spent all this time. I mean, because let's just be honest about it. And I put this up earlier today, and yes, I'm here to make you feel bad. I'm here to make you feel very bad about yourself. I put up today, it was a story, it was a video from Vlad TV, and they had, what's her name, porn star Pinky on there. Now, as you all know, she's put on a lot of weight. And because I study capitalism across the board, I check those things. Pornography is one of the few businesses where there's still no rules left. You have to give the customers exactly what they want, or you make no money. Movie business, period. But in pornography, I noticed that ever since I started categorizing investments, I was like, you know, there's a lot of big companies involved and a lot of white men involved in selling pornography to Black people. And that's when you realize it's like the shoe business. We are 99% of the customers and 0% of the ownership and manufacturer. And I'm watching this here, and I'm seeing her, and she's blown the hell up. I mean, she looks like a good size 20 now. Don't nobody want to see that naked on stage, but there it is. There it is. And I'm saying to myself, why is it that she is out there doing that. Why is that? And the reason, well, the reason is because we allow that economically. We allow that economically. We allow that economically because we put ourselves in a position where we are trying to, in the case of Titi Branch, what was she trying to do? You see, black men will take you, and here you come through the door all jiggly and raggedy and stuff like that, and black males to take that because, as Chris Rock said, a man is only as faithful as his options. But white men have more options. And so if you're walking in the door knowing that these people have more options and what they think about walking away from you is nothing, that means you got to come in at attention. And she immediately says, hey, I got to hit the gym. I got to get this together because he ain't going to have that. He's not going to have that. And if she had started doing that and then all of a sudden realized that that wasn't going to be good enough, that can crush you.
Yeah.
That can literally crush you.
Pinky, because of her notoriety of her past, she has this delusion that still gives her a pass, not knowing that, the thirsty, dusty men are, they don't care. They just want to see some flesh. And as long as she can get a couple of more dollars, she doesn't care. I'm Pinky.
Yeah, but where are we to enforce that? And what I'm saying is that in TT's case, she knew that she was with somebody who was going to enforce it. And what I'm saying is, do you realize the amount of pressure that puts on you when you are... It's one thing to be emotionally invested in somebody after you have met them. But what if you're emotionally invested in them before you even knew who they were? Don't you know that's what colorism is? Kanye West, look at him. He's emotionally invested in this woman before he ever met her.
It's funny that you said that, TBA, because I remember going to DR a couple of years ago, and I saw all the black guys with these fair-skinned...
Now, tell everybody what DR is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dominican Republic.
Okay.
All these black guys with these fair-skinned, very European-looking Latino girls. And then you look on the same bar, and you had these German guys with the darkest, blackest of Haitian women. Now, some of my girlfriends are Haitian because, Brooklyn as well as New York is a very diverse place. So it was no never mind to me. And I just stopped and looked again, and it was almost comical. And brothers will first say, oh, our black is beautiful, this and that, but, they're not trying to really deal with those type of women. Colorism, that's all over the place. I mean, even going to places like the Philippines and Thailand, they'll show you the most European-looking Thai women. But when you get there, a lot of them are very dark. There's huge traces of Africa in Thailand as well as the Philippines. Wide lips, nose, thick curly hair. But what they show you is Manny Pacquiao. It's being all over the place and seeing this again and again is not a coincidence, I tell people. But a lot of us are broken mentally, spiritually, and I mean, like you said last night, a lot of the brothers just doesn't want to even compete. I mean, when you talk about building, like...
Okay, I think he might have gotten disconnected there. Are you still there, caller? Caller, are you still there? Okay. Something's going on, I think, with Blog Talk. I think it is. I think they're having some issues there. We'll see if we can get reconnected here. But wouldn't it just be the cruelest of ironies if you investigated this and found out that the trainer was white? And what I'm saying, I mean, I'm just going to say it just like it is. I'm saying if we dig into this, we are clearly going to find a severe case of colorism. I'm just going to say it just like it is. If nobody else does, I'll be the one who says that. Okay, I guess you can get mad at me then, but I'm going to call it for what it is. I'm seeing that as a severe case of colorism. Now, caller, I'll go ahead and let you have the last word on that.
Keep on doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep up the good fight. I'm going to build and everything else, and find like people like myself. Those who don't, I can't do anything for them. With any war, you're just going to have casualties.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let's go ahead and see if I can try to grab one more caller here. Well, before I do that, though, the reason why I was saying that before about Pinky is that we have a situation where these types of dysfunctions are allowed to run rampant, and they're allowed to run rampant because we don't check them. We don't check them. It's not a priority amongst us as people, and particularly as black males. It's not a priority to check those. It's not a priority to do that. You get what you pay for and you get what you earn. And we haven't earned that. And now we are looking at a situation where as crazy as it sounds, you got folk out here talking about when a black man gets money, he goes and finds a white girl. But now we're seeing this from black females. The black men are looking for black females, and the black females are saying, who can I sell my soul to first? And I'm saying that when your desire to be with someone comes from a sick place, from an ill place, from an unhealthy place, that's a problem. That's a real problem. When you are going out and seeking somebody for nothing more than their skin color, that's a problem. That is a for real, serious, you got issues problem. No joke, no doubt about it. You got issues. You got issues. I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. You got issues if it's going down like that. Do you all realize how much wealth he took out of the black community right there? By sucking on this company before it even got off the ground good. Do you realize how bad that is? Do you realize how bad that is? I mean, we're giving up what we got before we can even get off the ground. We're not even able to get off the ground good and giving up what we have. 45 years old. Started Miss Jessie's, and what does it come to? What does it come to? This is why I tell you all that it is war, whether we wish it to be or not. It's war. And it's war because we have been sitting here trying to pretend it's not one, and we are literally dropping bodies, literally. Our inability to control the socioeconomic landscape around us is literally causing casualties, literally. This should be embarrassing. It is embarrassing to me. It's embarrassing. Mona, you're in hair care. You're in the same business as she's in. And I'm sure you see this kind of dynamic all the time.
Yes, I do, Jason. I'm just sitting here thinking about, what you spoke on earlier, that, he's going to, pass this wealth on to another white woman, because I'm thinking, let's just be honest here, as women, it's devastating when a black woman loses her man to another black woman. So this may have just been the deciding factor in why she took her life, because she probably did sit back and was devastated behind the fact that if this doesn't work out for her, she's going to be so embarrassed when she sees him with a white woman. And this does happen all the time. We don't like to lose. And she lost against another ethnic race. There's many black women that come into my salon that have white men. One is pregnant right now, walked in yesterday. I couldn't even hardly look at her in her face. But with me being the manager, I had to kind of force myself to speak to her. And he's sitting outside looking like a stalker, reading a book on the bench, and I'm trying to figure out, who is this white man sitting in the front of an all black salon with all women. And then she runs out to get the money, and I'm like, oh man, she's with this white man. And she was Belizean. I mean, it's just, I don't know. And she was getting a weave. So he didn't even love her for her own natural beauty. She was getting 30 inches of hair down her back and had 4 inches of long hair, her own hair. We got to do better. And Jason, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about single motherhood and babies making babies. And we have to get out of this, entertainment mindset and this fantasy mindset and get back into reality. We don't have any real life heroes to pattern ourselves after, to make, the best choices in life. We need to stop letting TV tell us what the hell to do and who the hell to be. And it's tragic when you can't go to a real life person to enrich your life and to protect yourself, both male and female.
If you all want to know why I occasionally do a TBA after hours to discuss, our interactions with each other on a social level, is because it kills. And this is a situation where it's showing exactly that. It kills. I mean, can we just be honest about this? Can we just be honest about this? As black people, we have a situation here where how many black men got killed? How many black men got killed doing exactly what she was doing? How many? How long do we keep up this cycle of doing this? How often do we watch that happen? How many generations of black people now that we are falling susceptible to societal warfare? We are falling susceptible to societal warfare because there's nobody in the dominant society who doesn't know. Every time we turn around, black people are making missteps, deliberately making missteps, just tossing it all away. And then you can't figure out why you don't have any power, wealth, or influence. Then you can't figure out why the situation doesn't change. And it doesn't matter if you're Chris Rock, Skip Gates, or Barack Obama. We've all got stories about the police pulling us over and pointing guns at us. We've all got stories like that. Why is that? That's because we haven't built an economy so that we can have our own societal structure. And we don't do that. Thus, it creates a perpetual cycle where it gets even worse. And that's what we're seeing right now. That's what we just watched right now. And all of you people out there, all of you swirlers, all of you interracialists who are just obsessed with hating black people and black men in particular, all of you clowns out there talking about I'm going to jump the fence and get a non-black female, just understand that we've just seen a case study of how it goes down. And you have some part in the death of Titi Branch. And I said it just like that. You have some part in that. You have a part. You helped contribute to this environment where that was allowed to occur. You had a piece of it and you had a place in it. You did. You did. And there are a lot of you listening right now, and you're playing that game. You're listening to people who don't have the same problem that they're talking to you about. Melissa Harris Perry is working on her second husband and $70,000 in arrears and taxes. Talking this strong and independent and I'm head of household and all this old bull jive. She's talking that mess. Telling you that you can raise your children without a father. But she's not going to do that. She's telling you that you can raise your children as a single mother. She's a divorcee. While she was a divorcee, talking about she was a single mother. And you saw that she grabbed another husband as quickly as she possibly could. Did you notice that? She grabbed another one as quickly as she possibly could. You can go listen to Beyonce and you can go listen to all the rest of them. They will sit there and talk you into a problem. Crystal and Karazhan has a husband. She has a non-black man that she brags about so much as her husband. She's got that. See, she's got one. And she is giving you a formula that will deprive you of one so that she can make money off of it. That's what she does. And you sit up here listening to somebody fool the hell out of you. They're fooling the hell out of you, and now it's costing people their lives. Hell yeah, I'm going to speak out against that. You better believe I got something to say against that. Absolutely I do. Absolutely. Because when we're watching this kind of thing occur over and over and over again, when we're seeing where people are out here promoting absolute lunacy, damn it, we need to stand up and say something, because understand something. I want you all to hear me very, very clearly. And what I'm about to say to you here next, I want you to hear this very clearly. This could be, and very well may be, at some point, your daughter. That's right. Go ahead and tell yourself it can't be and it won't be. This could be your child. This could be your daughter. This could be your son. This could be yours. And by us allowing these individuals to spew their sewage into the environment and to pollute and contaminate our ecosystem like this, our social ecosystem, do you see that your own child is now at risk? Oprah Winfrey was on the air for almost 30 years. 30 years talking about black men like a dog. It was her father that saved her from the abusive environment that her mother had her in, and she repaid that by hating black men and making a career out of it. 30 years she was on the air. Do you realize that that woman contaminated and damned 2 generations of black women? Not 1, 2. 2 straight generations. And then you had a cascade of imposters and imitators and copycats coming up behind her. Beyonce Knowles has been making music now for what, a decade? Spewing her garbage into the environment. Alice Walker, Toni Morrison. The list goes on. Individuals telling you how you can listen to them, and yet none of them were in a situation you want to be in. Where is Shonda Rhimes' husband? Where is Oprah Winfrey's husband? Somebody posted in the chat room, Zane. If listening to these people was such a good idea, why is it you keep ending up there? Why is it that you're alone? Oprah Winfrey ain't got no man. How the hell is she gonna talk to you about men? No wonder she's angry. She's the last person you should be listening to. Beyonce talked that mess, and then when she got with Jay-Z, her tune turned to cater to you, literally. That last album she made, boy, I'm telling you, the attitude's done flipped, ain't it? She's encouraging all of y'all to be hoes, but she's a married woman. She's telling you to go engage in behavior. She's talking about her husband. You all are talking about some raggedy nigga at a club. Lauryn Hill. We can go down the list. We're listening to our failures. And that's a formula for disaster. And look how long that the white supremacist corporate establishment has kept this game continuously rolling. Look how long they've been able to do that. And if you don't think that they're subsidizing Shonda Rhimes and Oprah's network and all the other haters of black society out there, if you don't think that they will still be doing this and still looking for mouthpieces in black society to promote their destructive, acidic drivel continuing for the next few decades, if you don't think that's so, if you don't think that your daughter will be listening to whoever the next Oprah or Beyonce is, because they're always going to make sure they got one, if you don't think they will, you just haven't been paying attention to reality. Mona, I'll let you have the last word.
As I sit here and talk, I'm thinking about Malcolm X when he asked us who taught us to hate ourselves. But the bigger question that I'm going to ask Intelligent Black Society is this: who are we allowing, whether it be white supremacy or the agents of white supremacy that have our skin color, to teach us to hate each other? Black first.
There is a lesson to be learned here tonight from the life of Titi Branch, from the life and death of Titi Branch. There is a lesson to be learned from this. And I hope that everybody out there listening to the sound of my voice takes this to heart. Brothers and sisters, we all we got. We are all we got. That's it. You are not going to find peace, happiness, or an identity outside of black society. That's not going to happen. Give it up. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority, singing with Mona Lachey. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future, like the present, is uncompromising.